Welcome back to the Studio Chronicles. If you're new here, hit subscribe, because we don't sugarcoat history. We chase the truth no matter how uncomfortable. Let's get into it. What if I told you that the ground beneath one of the world's most visited cities is literally built on top of thousands of human skulls? That a government once massacred its own students, then opened the Olympics 10 days later like nothing happened? Mexico has one of the richest, most complex civilizations on Earth, but buried beneath the fiestas, the ancient pyramids, and the tourist brochures is a history so dark, so deliberately hidden that most people, even Mexicans, were never supposed to know it. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 5 of the darkest facts in Mexico's history. Fact number 1. The Skull Towers of Tenochtitlan. Let's start beneath the streets of modern Mexico City. When the Spanish conquistadors entered the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan in 1519, they described something that haunted them for the rest of their lives. Standing at the heart of the city, next to the great Templo Mayor, were towers, not made of stone or brick, but of human skulls. Thousands of them, cemented together in massive cylindrical structures, flanking a giant wooden rack stretching over 100 feet wide, its poles threaded through the skulls of sacrificial victims. The Spanish wrote about it. Historians for centuries called it exaggeration, propaganda used to justify conquest. But then, in 2015, archaeologists digging beneath a colonial building just behind Mexico City's cathedral hit something extraordinary. They found it. The Tzompantli, the skull rack, exactly where the conquistadors said it would be. One tower alone was nearly 5 meters wide and still over 1.7 meters tall after centuries underground. By 2020, over 600 individual skulls had been identified, and researchers now estimate that several thousand skulls were on display at any given time. Here's where it gets even darker. Analysis of the skulls showed that the victims weren't just warriors captured in battle. There were women. There were children. And isotope studies revealed that many had lived in Tenochtitlan for months, sometimes years, before being sacrificed, meaning they were absorbed into society first before being offered to the gods. The Aztecs believed their sun god Huitzilopochtli needed a constant supply of human hearts and blood to keep the sun moving across the sky. Without it, they believed the world would end in total darkness. So war wasn't just about conquest, it was about keeping the universe alive, one beating heart at a time. Fact number 2, the massacre before the Olympics. Now let's move from ancient history to something far more recent, and in some ways far more disturbing because the people responsible were never punished. The year is 1968. Mexico City is buzzing with excitement. The Summer Olympics are 10 days away. It's the first time the Games have ever been hosted in Latin America, and the government wants the world to see a modern, thriving Mexico. But behind the scenes, students had been rising up all summer. They were protesting one-party rule. The PRI had held iron-fisted control over Mexico since 1929 and demanding basic democratic freedoms. The government's response? Soldiers blasted the door of a university building with a bazooka. Still, the protests grew. So on October 2nd, 1968, thousands of students, families, and ordinary citizens gathered peacefully in the Plaza of the Three Cultures in the Tlatelolco neighborhood. Then a government helicopter dropped flares over the crowd. It was a signal. Snipers from a secret presidential paramilitary unit opened fire from rooftops. Then the army moved in. For half an hour, the shooting didn't stop. The government's official death count, 25 people. But eyewitnesses describe bodies being loaded onto trucks in the dark, hauled away to military bases. Estimates from independent investigators range from 300 to over 400 dead. The next morning, Mexican newspapers ran headlines blaming the students for the violence. 10 days later, the Olympic Games opened. The world cheered. The dead were disappeared, quite literally, from history. No one was ever convicted, not one person. Fact number 3, the cenotes, beauty-hiding mass sacrifice. You've probably seen photos of Mexico's cenotes, those stunning crystal-clear sinkholes in the Yucatan Peninsula that look like something out of a dream. Tourists swim in them every single day. What most of them don't know is what archaeologists have pulled out of the water. To the ancient Maya, cenotes weren't swimming holes. They were portals to Xibalba, the underworld. And portals to the underworld required offerings. Archaeologists have recovered jade, gold, pottery, and yes, human remains from cenote floors across the Yucatan. The most famous, the sacred cenote at Chichen Itza, yielded the bones of dozens of individuals, including children, along with evidence they were thrown in alive. The next time someone posts a cenote photo with the caption "Paradise Found," now you know what paradise is built on. Fact number 4, the Spanish erasure. When Hernán Cortés conquered Tenochtitlan in 1521, he didn't just defeat an empire, he systematically erased it. The Spanish tore down the Templo Mayor, one of the greatest religious structures ever built in the Americas, stone by stone. Then they used those same stones to build a Catholic cathedral directly on top of its ruins. Over 68 major temples across the region were demolished and replaced with churches in just a few years. But it wasn't just buildings. The Spanish burned the vast majority of Aztec and Maya codices, their written records, their history, their science, their astronomy. Out of hundreds that existed, only a handful survived. Entire libraries of human knowledge gone in an afternoon bonfire because a bishop decided they were the work of the devil. We will never know what was in those books. Fact number 5, the 43 who vanished. And finally, a dark chapter that isn't history. It's still happening. In September 2014, 43 student teachers from the Ayotzinapa Rural Teachers College in the state of Guerrero boarded buses heading to Mexico City. They never arrived. The government's official story? Corrupt local police handed them over to a drug cartel who killed them and burned their bodies in a garbage dump. But independent investigators, including an international panel appointed by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, found serious holes in that story. Evidence pointed to the Mexican military being present that night. Evidence of a cover-up at the highest levels of government. More than a decade later, no complete answers, no full accountability, 43 young men gone. Their parents still march every year carrying photos, refusing to let the country forget. Mexico is a country of extraordinary beauty, culture, and resilience. But it is also a country that has had its darkest chapters buried, burned, and silenced by colonizers, by its own government, and by the passage of time. The least we can do is remember. If this hit different, drop a comment below. Share this with someone who needs to know. Thank you so much for watching the Studio Chronicles. Genuinely means a lot that you stuck around for this one. And if you want more videos like this, more buried history, more stories they don't teach in school, subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss when we drop something new. I'll see you in the next one.